For 10 years straight, thunder never stopped rumbling. Mountains were ripped from their foundations, oceans boiled, and the world split in two. On one side, the Titans, the old masters of the universe. On the other, the Olympians, young, rebellious gods. Zeus's lightning bolts, Poseidon's earthquakes, Hades' armies of death. The weapons used in this war were so powerful they could have destroyed the entire universe. So how did this epic battle begin? What strategies were used? And after 10 years, who finally won? Today I'm going to tell you about the Titanomachy, history's biggest, craziest, most epic war between gods. But this isn't just a war story. This is the tale of a family's darkest secrets, a paranoid father, a brave mother, and a son seeking revenge. This story has power, betrayal, strategy, and of course, victory. And the results of this war are still shaping the world we live in today. Our story starts at the very beginning, with the birth of the universe. First there was chaos, endless void, nothingness. Then Gaia was born, Mother Earth, the source of all life. Gaia created Uranus from within herself, Sky Father, Lord of the heavens. And these two primordial forces came together and started having children. But these weren't ordinary kids. These were the Titans, the universe's first generation of gods. 12 Titans were born: Oceanus, Cus, Crius, Hyperion, Iapetus, Theia, Rhea, Themis, Mnemosyne, Phoebe, Tethys, and the most powerful of all, Cronus. Each had incredible powers: time control, ruling the seas, shaping memory, making prophecies. But Uranus was afraid of his children. He knew that one day their power might surpass his own. Uranus's fear turned into paranoia. He started shoving every newborn child back into Gaia's womb. He imprisoned the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, 100-handed giants, in the depths of Tartarus. Gaia was suffering, both physically and emotionally. She wanted freedom for her children. Finally, Gaia couldn't take it anymore. She went to her youngest son, Cronus. "Your father is a ruthless dictator. You need to stop him." Gaia crafted a special sickle, made of adamant metal, sharp and powerful. "With this weapon, you can overthrow your father. But do you have the courage?" Cronus didn't hesitate. That night, while Uranus was with Gaia, Cronus emerged from the shadows and castrated his father with the sickle. Uranus's power was broken. He retreated to the sky and could never again fully dominate the earth. This was the first recorded divine assassination in history. As Cronus was celebrating his victory, Uranus spoke one final prophecy with his dying breath. "What happened to me will happen to you too. Your own child will overthrow you." These words struck Cronus's heart like an arrow. Even in his moment of triumph, the seeds of his fate had been planted. Thus began the Golden Age. Cronus married his sister Rhea, and they became the new rulers of the universe. Cronus was a just, wise, and merciful ruler. Humans lived in abundance, never suffering. There was no war, disease, or old age. This truly was a golden era. But Uranus's prophecy kept echoing in Cronus's mind. Each passing day, his paranoia grew. What if the prophecy comes true? What if one of my children really does overthrow me? These thoughts began to drive him insane. When Rhea became pregnant, Cronus's paranoia reached its peak. When their first child was born, Hestia, a beautiful and innocent baby, Cronus remembered the prophecy. "Will this baby grow up to overthrow me?" he thought. And he made that terrible decision. He swallowed Hestia whole, completely. Rhea screamed, begged. Cronus was determined. The prophecy will not come true. I will write my own destiny. When the second child, Demeter, was born, the same thing happened. Then Hera, then Hades, then Poseidon. With each birth, The same horrific ritual was repeated. Cronus was swallowing his own children immediately after birth. Paranoia had turned him into a monster. With each child she lost, Rhea was dying inside, but anger was also growing. This man is no longer the Cronus I loved. This is a monster who's destroying our children. After the 5th child, Rhea began planning. Cronus's behavior wasn't just disturbing Rhea. It was troubling the other Titans, too. Oceanus, our brother has gone mad. This can't continue. Thea, killing innocent babies. This isn't justice anymore. It's madness. But no one had the courage to stand up to Cronus. He was too powerful. Meanwhile, unrest was brewing in other parts of the universe. The Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires were still imprisoned in Tartarus. They too wanted their freedom. But Cronus, just like his father, refused to free them. They're too dangerous. They pose a security risk. When Rhea became pregnant for the 6th time, she was ready. This time she would save her child. She asked Gaia for help. "Mother, help me. This baby must survive." Gaia saw her own pain reflected in Rhea. "My daughter, I understand you. Let's make a secret plan." The plan was this. Rhea would give birth in a secret cave on the island of Crete. She would hide the baby in a safe place and give Cronus a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes instead of the baby. This was quite a risky plan, because if Cronus discovered the deception, he could kill both Rhea and the baby. Asterisk in the Dictaean cave in Crete, one of history's most important births took place. Zeus came into the world. But this wasn't an ordinary birth. This was the birth of a moment that would change the universe's destiny. Rhea immediately handed the baby to Gaia. Gaia gave Zeus to nymphs who would feed him with milk from a goat, named Amalthea. These nymphs were very special creatures, loyal, powerful, and masters of secrecy. While raising Zeus, they would give him not just nourishment, but also combat training. Rhea returned to Cronus and implemented the riskiest part of the plan. She handed a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes to Cronus. "Here is our son." Cronus didn't suspect anything. His paranoia had blinded him. He took the stone and swallowed it. He didn't even notice it was stone inside. As Zeus grew up in Crete, he began showing extraordinary abilities. Even as a child, he could create lightning. He could talk to animals and control nature. But his most important ability was leadership. Everyone around him was amazed by him. The Curete nymphs taught Zeus not just power, but also wisdom. Power alone isn't enough. You must learn to be just, to think strategically, to find allies. Zeus listened carefully to these lessons. As he transitioned from childhood to youth, Zeus learned his true identity. The nymphs told him the truth. You are Cronus's son, but he tried to kill you. Your siblings are still trapped alive inside his stomach. This knowledge both angered Zeus and made him determined. Zeus, I won't forgive my father, but if I'm going to fight against him, I must act strategically. I can't win alone. With this thought, Zeus began searching for allies. First he went to Metis, daughter of the Titan Oceanus, goddess of wisdom. Metis was very intelligent and opposed Cronus's rule. I'll help you, Zeus, but first you must rescue your siblings, because this war is going to be huge. Metis prepared a special potion for Zeus. This potion would force Cronus to vomit up the children he had swallowed. But how would they get Cronus to drink the potion? That required a separate plan. Zeus infiltrated Cronus's palace as a cupbearer. He was hiding his identity, and his father didn't recognize him. For days, he waited patiently for the right moment. And finally, that moment came. While Zeus was working as a cupbearer in his father's palace, he took every opportunity to observe Cronus. His father was still paranoid, but also very powerful. I can't defeat him in open battle. I need to be smarter, Zeus thought. When that critical night arrived, Zeus was ready. Cronus was throwing a great feast and drinking plenty of wine. Zeus mixed Medus's potion into Cronus's goblet. The potion was colorless and odorless, a perfect weapon. Shortly after Cronus drank the wine, he began feeling terrible nausea. First, he vomited up Poseidon, whole and healthy. Then Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia. The 5 siblings, after living inside Cronus's stomach for years, were finally freed out after the siblings got over their initial shock. Zeus introduced himself. "I am your youngest brother Zeus, and our father tried to kill us." At that moment, a silent alliance was formed among the siblings. They were all angry at Cronus, but Cronus wasn't idle either. When he realized the moment of betrayal, he furiously attacked his children. "You are my children. You must obey me." But the siblings were no longer children. Each was an adult god with great powers. The first family fight happened that night. Zeus threw lightning, Poseidon created earthquakes, Hades spread the chill of death. Cronus was powerful, but even he struggled against 5 siblings. Finally, he was forced to retreat. "This isn't over." Cronus shouted, "I am the legitimate ruler of the universe. You are rebellious children." But Zeus replied, "A legitimate ruler doesn't try to kill his children. You became a tyrant, father. And like all tyrants, you will fall." Cronus sent word to the other titans. "My children have rebelled against me. We need to stop them." Most titans sided with Cronus. Oceanus, Hyperion, Crius, Coes, Iapetus, they all supported the old order, but some were undecided. Themis, justice, and Namuniemery thought Zeus might be right. Zeus also began gathering his own allies. Besides Metis, other young gods existed. The goddess of the river Styx and her children, Nike, Victory, Bea, Force, Kratos, Bezel, Zealous, Rivalry, sided with Zeus. But Zeus knew this wasn't enough. The Titans were too powerful and experienced. He needed bigger allies. And then he thought of the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, the giants imprisoned in Tartarus. If I free them, will they help me? This was a very risky gamble. Because these creatures were so powerful, they might be uncontrollable. But Zeus knew he had no other choice. Zeus's decision to descend into Tartarus was the most critical move that would change the course of the war. Tartarus, deeper than death itself, the darkest prison. This place was so far away that a hammer, dropped from the sky, would take 9 days on earth and 9 days in the air to reach there. Zeus embarked on this dangerous journey alone. His siblings tried to stop him. "This is too dangerous, Zeus. What if you don't return?" But Zeus was determined. "If we want to win this war, we must free them." The path down to Tartarus was filled with terrible creatures. Echidna's children, fire-breathing dragons, bone-eating spirits. Zeus fought each one. His lightning was so bright that dark Tartarus was temporarily illuminated. When he finally reached the prison, Zeus found the giants. The Cyclopes, Brontes, Thunder, Sterops, Lightning, Arges, Brightness, were bound with adamant chains. The Hecatoncheires, Codus, Brireos, Gyges, massive giants with 100 hands and 50 heads each, were imprisoned the same way. "Who's that?" asked Brontes when he saw Zeus. "I am Zeus, son of Cronus. I've come to free you." The Cyclopes looked suspiciously. "Why? You're also from Cronus's lineage." Zeus explained, "My father became a tyrant. Now I'm fighting against him. But I need your power to win this war." Brontes thought, "If you free us, what will you give us in return?" "I'll give you freedom. And together we'll build a new order based on justice, equality, and freedom." These words touched the Cyclopes' hearts. Because they too had been imprisoned by Uranus and by Cronus, Zeus used his lightning to break the adamant chains. When the chains broke, the Cyclopes saw light they hadn't seen for years. "Thank you, Zeus. We owe you a debt of gratitude." Freeing the Hecatoncheires was even more difficult. They were so large that their chains were as thick as mountains. But Zeus was patient. He broke each chain link one by one. Cronus was the first to be freed. "Little god, why did you save us?" Zeus gave the same explanation. After Cronus spoke, "With his brothers," he replied, "we will fight on your side, Zeus. But know this war will be terrible. The universe will shake." To show their gratitude, the Cyclopes made special weapons for Zeus. They gave Zeus lightning and thunder bundles, gave Poseidon a trident with 3 prongs that could control the seas, and gave Hades an invisibility helmet. These weapons weren't just powerful, they were also magical. The Hecatoncheires also prepared their own special weapons: mountain-sized rocks, abyss-deep spears, and most importantly, the ability to throw hundreds of stones per second with their 100 hands. As Zeus emerged from Tartarus with these powerful allies, he was now confident he could win the war. But he hadn't forgotten the Cyclopes' warning. "This war will change the shape of the universe. You must be ready." When Zeus returned to Earth with his new allies, his siblings greeted him with great astonishment. The Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires were so massive and powerful that just their appearance was terrifying. "Poseidon, Zeus, are these really on our side?" Zeus laughed. "Yes, brother. And now we can finally fight Cronus on equal terms." The Titans weren't idle either. Cronus had gathered all his Titan brothers and established a war council. They had chosen Mount Othrys as their base. A giant fortress was built on the mountain's peak. Hyperion could use sunbeams as weapons. Oceanus controlled all rivers and seas. Zeus could foresee enemy plans with his prophetic power. Zeus chose Mount Olympus as his base. This mountain was so high, its peak was above the clouds. This was an easily defended position, suitable for attack. The Cyclopes established a giant forge here, constantly producing new weapons. The first great clash took place in the Thessaly plains, right in the center of the world. When the two armies faced each other, the sight was breathtaking. On one side, the Titans, experienced, powerful masters of 1,000-year-old rule. On the other side, the Olympians, young, ambitious, fighting for change. When the battle began, the sky filled with terrible sounds. Zeus's lightning, Cronus's time manipulation, Hyperion's sunbeams, Poseidon's tsunami waves. Each attack was so powerful that mountains were uprooted. The Cyclopes continuously supplied Zeus with lightning. These weren't normal lightning bolts. These were made of adamant metal, infinitely energized, smart weapons that found their targets. When Cronus saw these lightning bolts, he was shocked. "What is this? Where did you find these weapons?" The Hecatoncheires were even more effective. Codus, Briareos, and Gyges threw hundreds of giant rocks per second, scattering the Titan armies. Their 100 hands moved so fast the eye couldn't follow. Rock slides, avalanches, meteor showers. It was as if natural disasters had joined the war, but the Titans didn't give up easily either. Iapetus called Atlas, the giant who carried the skies on his shoulders. When Atlas came to the battlefield, his shadow covered all the plains. He could shatter mountains with a single punch. The first phase of the war lasted exactly 7 years. Neither side could gain decisive advantage. Zeus was powerful but inexperienced. Cronus was experienced, but his paranoia prevented strategic thinking. Every attack, every retreat disrupted the universe's balance. Humans on Earth were greatly affected by this war. Constant thunder, constant earthquakes, constant storms. Normal life had stopped. Animals were hiding, plants were dying, rivers were either drying up or flooding. These truly were apocalyptic days. Zeus realized that if this war continued like this, it would never end. He needed a more radical strategy, and then a secret plan came to his mind. At the end of the 7th year, Zeus called a war council. This war is taking too long. If it continues like this, the universe will be completely destroyed. We need a new plan. Metis presented her suggestion. There's no unity among the Titans. They don't all support Cronus. We can win some of them over to our side. Zeus liked this idea. Which Titans can we convince? Themis first. She's the goddess of justice, and what Cronus did was unjust. Prometheus might also switch to our side. He's a friend to humans and might support the new order. Mnemosynes. Also undecided, Zeus began secret diplomatic meetings. His conversation with Themis was very important. Aunt, you represent justice. Are Cronus's actions just? Trying to kill his children, imprisoning innocents, ruling with paranoia. Themis thought for a long time. Zeus, you're right, but I don't want to divide my family. Zeus, the family is already divided. Now you just need to choose which side is right. Finally, Themis sided with Zeus. This was a huge gain, because Themis's power of justice gave Zeus morale and dealt a major blow to Cronus. Convincing Prometheus was easier. Prometheus was already uncomfortable with Cronus's authoritarianism. Zeus, I'll fight on your side. But after the war ends, you'll need to be fair to humans. With these new allies, Zeus entered the 8th year much stronger, but the real strategic change was something else. Zeus was now aiming not just to win the war, but also to minimize damage. On Metis' suggestion, Zeus began implementing psychological warfare tactics. He would increase Cronus's paranoia and shake his confidence. For example, he organized night raids, preventing Cronus from sleeping. During the day, he made very long-distance lightning attacks, keeping Cronus constantly alert. And tired dot this tactic worked. Cronus gradually became more paranoid, more tired, more indecisive. He stopped trusting the other Titans and began seeing them as enemies too. This situation seriously shook Titan unity dot at the beginning of the 9th year. Zeus's psychological warfare tactics showed their full effect. Cronus was now afraid of even his own shadow. He asked Hyperion, "Are you going to betray me?" He looked suspiciously at Oceanus. "Are you also on my children's side?" This paranoia was undermining Titan. Unity from within. Iapetus rebelled against his brother. "Cronus, you're no longer that wise leader. Paranoia has destroyed you." This open criticism encouraged other Titans too. Coups, maybe it's time for peace. This war has gone on too long, but Cronus wasn't hearing anything. I am the legitimate ruler of the universe. No one can question me. He angrily attacked his brothers. This incident created a major crack in the Titan ranks. Zeus took advantage of this situation and made his final move. He went to Gaia. "Great-grandmother, this war is destroying the world you created. You need to intervene now." Gaia had been greatly affected by her grandchildren's war. "Zeus, you're right. But how can I help?" "Wake up Typhon," Zeus said. This was very risky advice, because Typhon was the universe's most terrible monster. But Zeus had calculated, if Typhon attacks both us and the Titans, whoever can defend better will win. The 10th year was the final phase of the Titanomachy. Zeus was now following a different strategy, gathering all his power into one attack. Brothers, this will be the final battle. Either we all win or we all die. That morning, as Zeus looked down from Olympus's peak, he knew the universe's fate would be decided that day. The Cyclopes had given him the ultimate weapon, Cronus, the universe's most powerful lightning bolt. This weapon was so powerful it could destroy a mountain with a single strike. They faced each other one last time on the battlefield. Cronus had gathered his final allies, Atlas, Menoetius, a few loyal titans. Beside Zeus were his siblings, the Cyclopes, the Hecatoncheires, and the newly allied titans. "Son," said Cronus, "I offer peace one last time. Rule with me. Let's end this war." But Zeus replied, "Father, you lost your chance for peace the day you swallowed your children. It's too late now." When the final battle began, the universe seemed to split in two. On one side was the power of the past, on the other, the hope of the future. When Zeus raised Cronus, the sky thundered so loudly it cracked. The lightning was so bright it overshadowed the sun. Cronus tried to use time manipulation to slow Zeus's attack. But Zeus's anger was so great it transcended even time. Cronus struck Cronus right in the heart. This is impossible," Cronus murmured as he fell to his knees. "I am the master of the universe." But Zeus approached. "Not anymore, father. You just became a paranoid tyrant." Atlas attacked Zeus to save his master. But the Hecatoncheires surrounded Atlas and punished him to carry the skies on his shoulders forever. Menoetius was sent to Tartarus by Hades' in his final breath. Cronus sighed. The prophecy came true. Zeus replied, "Yes, father, but I won't be like you. I will rule with justice." When the war ended, the universe fell into silence. For the first time in 10 years, thunder stopped, the earth calmed down. Zeus climbed to Olympus's peak and declared himself the new master of the universe. After winning the war, Zeus's first act was to divide the universe with his siblings. "This universe no longer belongs to one person. It's our common heritage," he said. This was a very different approach from Cronus. At the important decision meeting, Zeus announced, "I will rule the skies. Poseidon, you will be master of the seas. Hades, you will control the underworld. Hera, Demeter, Hestia, you will also govern your own domains." This democratic sharing showed the character of the new order. Now there wouldn't be one-man rule, but consensus and cooperation. But the losers also needed punishment. Zeus categorized the Titans, those who took active roles in the war. Cronus, Atlas, Menoetius received heavy punishment. Those who remained neutral, Oceanus, Rhea, were pardoned. Those who switched sides, Themis, Prometheus, were rewarded. Cronus's punishment was the heaviest, eternal imprisonment in Tartarus. But Zeus had a special punishment cell made for his father. He wouldn't be uncomfortable, but couldn't escape. This showed Zeus's character, just but merciless. Atlas's punishment was both symbolic and practical. He would carry the skies on his shoulders forever. This was both punishment and duty. If Atlas dropped the skies, the universe would collapse. The Hecatoncheires were given a special task, guarding Tartarus. The Cyclopes became Zeus's weapon masters. These alliance rewards showed the importance of loyalty. The rules of the new order were also established. Zeus wouldn't be an absolute dictator, but first among equals. Important decisions would be made in council. Every god would have voting rights. This system was very different from Cronus's one-man regime. With the end of the Titanomachy, the universe entered a new age. Now order, not chaos, prevailed. Under Zeus's leadership, the Olympian gods established justice and stability in every corner of the universe. But the traces of this war were permanent. The mountains on earth still had the shape of rocks thrown by the Hecatoncheires. The storms in the seas were still echoes of Poseidon's anger. Thunder still reminded everyone of Zeus's victory. A new era also began for humanity. Cronus's golden age had ended, but Zeus's bronze age offered different opportunities. Now they could have closer relationships with the gods. They could ask for help from them. Mythological stories told this war repeatedly. Different lessons were drawn from each telling: power and responsibility, justice and mercy, change and continuity. This story wasn't just an ancient legend. It was a symbol of universal human experience. Zeus's character was also shaped by this war. He was now not just powerful, but also a wise leader. He had learned from his father's mistakes and promised to be a better ruler. But of course, Zeus wasn't perfect either. There would be future mistakes, new conflicts, other rebellions. Because power always carried the risk of corruption. To understand this great war, we need to deeply examine the main characters' motivations. Each had different reasons, different fears, different hopes. Cronus, paranoid dictator, but also a frightened father. The prophecy destroyed him. The fear, my children will kill me, destroyed real love. He was the classic example of a tyrant who sacrificed everything to preserve power. Zeus, idealistic revolutionary, but also strategic leader. He wasn't just seeking revenge. He was building a new order. Zeus's greatest advantage was focusing on the future, being determined not to repeat the past's mistakes. Rhea, suffering mother, but also brave conspirator. She saved Zeus. She was the real initiator of this war. Maternal instinct changed the universe's fate. Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, victims seeking freedom. For them, this war meant escape from prison. Their loyalty to Zeus came not from gratitude, but from common interest. Other titans, divided family members. Some supported tradition, some supported change. This was the large-scale version of the dilemma experienced in every family conflict. Metis, wise advisor and strategist. She supported Zeus's raw power with intelligent plans. She was a character showing the power of female intelligence. Each character had their own story, their own drama. This war wasn't just a power struggle, but a great theater where all dimensions of human nature were displayed. The Titanomachy isn't just ancient mythology. It's a symbol of universal human experience. This story has familiar themes: generational conflict, power struggle, change, and continuity. We see similar wars in the modern world too. Political revolutions, technological changes, cultural transformations. Every generation questions the system. Built by the previous generation, tries to change it. Zeus's victory symbolizes innovation's triumph over traditionalism. But it also contains a warning. Power always carries the risk of corruption. Zeus, too, might make mistakes like his father in the future. Perhaps the most powerful message of this story is this: change is inevitable, but the form of change matters. Zeus didn't just defeat his father with force. He also built a better system. He chose construction, not destruction. It's also very instructive in terms of family dynamics. How Cronus's paranoia can destroy love. How Rhea's courage can save the future. How siblings' unity can be powerful. These are universal truths. This war also gives lessons about leadership. Cronus chose one-man rule. Zeus preferred a collaborative approach. Which is more sustainable? History gave the answer. On a mythological level, this story tells about the constant struggle between order and chaos. The universe is always changing, always seeking new balances. The Titanomachy is the most dramatic example of this change. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: no power lasts forever. Cronus thought so too, but was wrong. Zeus might also fall into the same mistake. Power is temporary. Change is permanent. The Titanomachy is over, but the story doesn't end here. Because new forces will challenge Zeus's new order. Giants will come, Typhon will come, there will be other rebellions. The power struggle never ends. But for now, Zeus is victorious. The universe has found its new master, and humanity will meet. New gods. Zeus's justice, Poseidon's power, Hades' mystery, Hera's authority. This war ended, but started new stories. Because every ending is actually a new beginning, Dot. So do you think Zeus will make mistakes like his father? Will power corrupt him too? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you love these kinds of epic mythology stories, don't forget to subscribe. Because next week, I'm going to tell you about another war of the gods. The Titans fell, the Olympians rose. But the story isn't over yet.